Well, I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, the last thing I wanted to do after school was go to school. Well, not so for this next group of kids that I recently spent some time with. Teenage life, perhaps best immortalized in the movie Clueless. There's shopping, questionable fashion, and reckless driving.
Oops, my bad.
What do you make then of these teens?
Right now, I'm working on trying to prove evolutionary acceleration.
I'm doing swarm engineering, which is where we take a bunch of simple autonomous robots and we want them to complete a universal task.
These are the kids of the Jisan Research Institute. She's looking at a page that says things like node count :6, comma, connection count 4, nodes :-2, open paren -1, and seeing meaning. I'm impressed. After a full day of high school, Crystal Ogletree is one of 57 teenagers who come here to do real science research projects. This is pretty graphic. What do we got? Under the supervision of scientists like Dr. Sanza Kazadi, who started the program.
I had a lot of problems and projects that I was interested in, but clearly didn't have the time to do. Someone wrote this code, and I want to find out who it is. So there was a kind of natural fit. Here are some students who don't know anything about research, and here I've got research, I can't get to it. So all I had to do was really teach them how to do the research and then have them work on the projects with me, and we both won.
Gravity. Plus, they're cheap. It'll run you about $40,000 for a year of graduate student research. Same amount gets you 13 of these junior geniuses. So you could do this alone. It would just take you a couple of years.
I would have been working on my stuff, some other stuff, and I never would have had an opportunity to work on this.
But right now we're focusing on our two focuses, which is just construction and locomotion, cluster movement. So
how do the individuals in this swarm communicate amongst themselves?
And this is something called stigmergy. And
stigmergy.
Yeah, stigmergy.
How do you spell it?
S-T-Y, sorry.
Here.
It's not
Okay, so maybe spelling isn't their strong suit. Stigmergy, that's a robot bumping up against a darker place when it had been light all around. That's a change in its environment?
No, not like that. It's like picking up a tree and then moving it to another spot. And so robots still think, hey, some guy moved a tree, and that's how they communicate with each other.
No, you need two.
Oh.
This simulation doesn't work if you have only one.
The idea, says Kazadi, is to give the kids a chance to become scientists by doing science. They come from grades 8 through 12, but they all have one thing in common, passion for science, like James Wigglesworth and Michael Wang.
It feels really awesome. It's like, you're not just learning how the world works or just learning about how to learn about science, you're actually doing science.
High school, it's just you memorize facts, you read out of a book, and it's pretty much all the courses are like history lessons because everything already has been done.
Okay, dirt proof is a series of implications that verifies whether a proposition is true.
Jessica, give me a real quick example of a proof by contradiction.
Let me see.
Like if I wanted to prove that, say, this computer is on, how would you do that by contradiction?
You prove that it's not off.
This is very different from, their experiences in traditional schools because their experiences in traditional schools are pretty much, centered around filling their head with a bunch of facts that somebody else came up with years ago. And they don't really own those facts. It doesn't give them any passion. That's what science is about.
We got trade secrets behind me. They're erasing it quickly because we don't want some guy at MIT to be able to divine how to do all this. So you have these students, they're not even old enough to drive, certainly not old enough to serve in the military, yet they're working on some of the most complicated problems that science has to offer.
They're 15 years old and it kind of hits you. Here's a kid who is doing something that, people that are twice their age are having a hard time with.
And they publish.
We're writing a paper right now, and we hope to get it published in a journal. Right now, it's called Effective Grouping in Evolutionary Acceleration.
Your students have published?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the students publish in the same place I publish.
Oh, what language is that?
The reviewers don't know who the authors are, and the authors don't know who the reviewers are. So we're judged on the same level as any other scientist.
Man.
And you're actually finding ways to make the world a better place for everyone and to actually get something done. Feels really good.
If you'd like to know more, please contact Dr. Sanza Kazadi at the Jisan Research Institute at sanza@jisan.org or call 626-568-0500.